Okay, that was a little weird. It was a little different. Normally at this service, we're so filled with children. And they're here to do our pageant where we have it all sort of worked out. It's very simple. There's really no rehearsals necessary. Very little acting is involved. But they come dressed out, one at a time or in little groups. And we usually have a few shepherds. And we usually have lots of sheep. Lots of sheep and lots of angels. Angels are always very popular. Finding Mary and Joseph can be tricky. Sometimes a lot of people want to be Mary or Joseph. Sometimes no one wants to be Mary and Joseph. But every year it's a little bit different. Every year it's always delightful. Every year it's always fun. And it's filled with joy. Christmas joy. To hear the words of the gospel. To hear from Luke about the birth of the Messiah. And to see children reenacted in a way to help us see with some dimension what really must have happened on that Christmas morning. And this year, we couldn't do it. We couldn't bring all the kids in. We couldn't have them waiting in the back, dressed up with all the costumes, eager to be set down one at a time or in their little groups. We couldn't have an argument over who got to be Mary or which boy was forced to be Joseph. Instead, it was just three of us. Three grown-ups, being a little silly, doing some quick costume changing, but making sure that the pageant wasn't taken from us like so many things have been this year. That's been part of my goal as we have gathered both for corporate worship and with even the programming that we have tried to maintain and even develop over the past few months. This pandemic has impacted every one of our lives deeply, dramatically, profoundly. Some of us, it has affected us permanently. And there is sorrow, and there is loss, and there is hardship, and there is death. It has been a year like none of us have ever experienced, and it has taken away so many things, so many good things, so many good people. And it would be very easy maybe to just say, well, we can't do certain things anymore. We've got to put them away. We've got to stop them. But there are some traditions that I think are worth preserving because they point past themselves to something that is lasting regardless of the circumstances. Something that is sure and it is true no matter what this year looks like, no matter what any year looks like. And maybe having a children's pageant is not the sort of tradition you make sure, by golly, you're going to do or else, but it was always a good thing. And if in this hard year we can preserve any good thing, even if we have to fool around with it a little bit, I say we try. We stand together and say, you've taken so much, but you won't take this. Some of these traditions pointing beyond themselves to that which is lasting and that which is true. And every family has their own. Every family has some way in which they are maybe passing along to children and grandchildren and to other generations what this night, what tomorrow morning means, how special, how profound, how important, how beautiful, how joyful. And maybe it's certain decorating. Maybe it's special foods. Maybe it's opening presents in the morning versus at night, or one at night and the rest in the morning. Maybe it's watching Charlie Brown Christmas. Or I think I might prefer the Grinch.
Yeah.
I think there was a new version this year. Did you see that one? I mean, I like the old version, the Boris Karloff and the Thurl Ravenscroft singing how Mr. Grinch was such a mean one. But I think I stumbled across a recent version, maybe just for this year. I tried to scribble down the words so I wouldn't forget them because it ended a little differently than the one that I'm used to. It ended like this. A pandemic hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it came just the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch hands sanitized from the flu, stood puzzling and puzzling. Could it really be true? It came without gatherings. It came at social distance. Family missed family, and there were masks at every instance. And he puzzled and puzzled till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. What if, under bad circumstances and sadness and fear, Christmas came anyway, even this year? Because that's the God's honest truth. Christmas has come. No matter what. Christmas has come. Like a light shining in the darkness. Christmas has come. And in despair I bowed my head. There is no peace on earth, I said, for hate is strong and mocks the song of peace on earth, goodwill to men. Then pealed the bells more loud and deep. God is not dead, nor doth he sleep. The wrong shall fail, the right prevail, with peace on earth, goodwill to men. This is not the first Christmas that has been celebrated under difficult circumstances, hardship, sorrow, and death. And while it may be absolutely unique to us, time and time again, over the generations, throughout the world, deep within history, there have been times of great turmoil and doubt, of frustration and sadness, of illness, disease, and death, of war and pestilence, of suffering, hardship, and darkness. And that's why these words ring so true. For the people walking in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of deep darkness, a light has dawned. For unto us a child is born. To us a son is given. And the government will be on his shoulders. Even in 2020, he will be called Wonderful Counselor. Even in the midst of a pandemic, he is the mighty God. Even with us separated and distant from one another, this is the everlasting Father. And even when our hearts are so full of hurt, as though they would break forever, this is the birth of Jesus Christ, the Prince of Peace, and of the greatness of his government and his peace there will be no end. For whatever our darkness might be, this is the light that dawns that makes a difference. Not just for a night, not just for a morning, but forever. I'm not sure in my life we've ever needed Christmas quite so much. And here's the thing. We get it. He has given it to us. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son. And if we need Christmas so bad, that's the amazing part of this. He has given it to us again. For it is here. He is here. A light has dawned, even in our darkness. And no disease can take that away. No suffering, no hardship, and no loss can prevent this gift from coming. What has come is life. That's how John puts it. And in this life, it was the light of all the world. A light that shines in the darkness. And the darkness tried to overcome it and couldn't do it. For to all who received him, all who believed in his name, he gives power to become children of God. Who were born not of blood, or the will of the flesh, or the will of man, but as God himself takes on our flesh, so he makes us his children. The Word became flesh, dwelt among us, and we have seen his glory. The glory of a Father's only Son, full of grace, full of truth. That was true last year, and the year before, and the year before that. It has been true every year of my life, and every year of yours. It has been true now for 2,000 years, and it will be true next year and the year after and every year that God grants us until he makes all creation new. For the very glory of God, a light that pierces the darkest of times and shines forth with brightness and joy. God knew just the gift we needed, and he has wrapped it up for us. A year like this, where we needed Christmas so badly, and he did it again. For it has come, the glory of God. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Come and worship. Come and worship Christ, our newborn